Just for fun, and to give you an idea of how an author describes a book to an editor she hopes will buy it for publication, check out superstar bestseller Stella Cameron as she pitches her new Court of Angels series to HQN editor Margo Lipschultz.
Stella and Margo, it's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Margo. I'm Stella Cameron from Seattle.
Very nice to meet you. So tell me what you're pitching today, and I promise to make it as painless as possible.
Thanks. Thank you very much. I'm pitching a series of paranormal books set in New Orleans in current times. The story begins 300 years ago in Brussels when a paranormal family first encounters a dark-haired, blue-eyed child of their own. And they're not supposed to be. They're all born with red hair and green eyes. And this begins a curse, or so they believe it begins a curse. So forward, quick, to the current time. There are 3 large paranormal families, psychic families in New Orleans who have, each member has their own specific, unusual power, in addition to being clairvoyant, psychic, whatever you want to call it. And what they have encountered are a renegade clan called the Embren, who are shapeshifters, but they shapeshift into very unusual creatures. And their plan is to take over New Orleans. So it's actually a battle for New Orleans. It's obviously a love story. The decisions that they make, they don't make them lightly as far as their relationships go, because there's no backing out. So for instance, I have written the first book, Out of Body, and I'm now writing Out of Mind. And in Out of Mind, the heroine never ever wanted to be a psychic. So she has fought against it. She actually runs a concierge business, and but unfortunately or unfortunately, she can't fight against the power that she has anymore. So she's dragged right into the middle of these unusual deaths that are happening all over New Orleans, with very clearly being perpetrated by people who are not human.
Now, is she aware that she's from one of the families of psychics? Okay, so she's just fighting her destiny.
Yes.
And so so each of the, how many books did you say there are in this series?
To begin with, I've started with 3.
Okay, and so each of these books revolves around a different couple, a different hero, different heroine?
Yes,
okay.
But the precinct is there. The book's the overarching name is Court of Angels.
Oh, I like
which is a court at the back of an antique shop that has stone angels and griffins and so on. And the families live in flats around the courtyard. And so the legend ties into the stone angels and into finding out what the mystery is that they hold.
Okay, so all 3 separate families, they are all good guys?
Oh yeah.
And the Embren are the enemies of
they
the
are
series.
The enemies,
so now are these 3 families, they're aware of each other, they're
aware of each other.
They're
not related to each other.
Okay.
They're aware of each other, but they don't. For instance, in the first book I only deal with the Malays. In the second book I deal with the fortunes in the Malays. And in the third book it'll be the Montrachet's fortunes and Malays.
Okay, so are your heroes always psychic? Are your heroines always psychic?
Yes.
Do you mix it up, or they
always are?
So none of the protagonists is just a straightforward human with no extra special abilities?
The hero in the first book was not aware of the talents that he had.
Oh, that's interesting.
Until they gradually appeared during the story.
I think one of the questions as an editor I always have for authors who are writing an ongoing series is, how are you going to make each book different from the last? So when you say you have 3 books and they're all about psychics, people involved in psychic families fighting evil, I'm wondering, well, how is the relationship in book 1 and the characters and personalities in book 1 going to be different from book 2, and how is book 2 going to be different from book 3? Can you go into a little detail about that?
I think that their actual individual talents make the stories very different. Their backgrounds, just as if I were writing 3 independent books set in New Orleans, I'd have 3 sets of people who had different backgrounds and who had different life experiences. In the third book, it's all about Sykes, who would have been the head of the family had he not been the next person after 300 years to be born with dark hair and blue eyes. And he is very powerful.
Interesting. And how did you decide to set this series in New Orleans?
I've been selling books in New Orleans for 15 years.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's
Many
familiar
books.
territory.
Yes.
I love that you're taking a different tack with psychics, and that you're keeping the romances to two people with extra special powers, rather than what I frequently see in paranormal is one human and one extra, one non-human. So I like that this is kind of a unique take. I definitely think there's a market for this series. I'd love to talk to you about
Are you going to buy it?
contract. I think I'm going to buy it. I think
good.
I'm going to buy it right now.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.